This time around for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I wanted to create a score that both had the sort of theatrical dimension of a big movie score, but I also wanted to have a contemporary flavor. And so I called up Hans Zimmer, who I've, like everybody else in the universe, I'm a huge fan of Hans. What I'm trying to do when I make a movie is connect the audience to the characters. And you want to feel what they feel. And if you don't understand that, if you don't feel that, then you lose the audience and they kind of recoil.
Whoa, look who's here. Spidey. How was your morning?
You don't hear clarinets weirdly in big scores as much anymore, but I think it's a beautiful, sonorous, really wonderful, warm texture. And we gave it to the villain. We gave it to the bad guy, which I think was a kind of a fun way to humanize that character. So that was the foundation. And then, we were trying to figure out more nuance to it. And Pharrell had really tracked and really invested in Electro Story. He wanted to bring out wanted to bring that out more. And he had written out all these different lyrics from the song. And it was voices. It was the voices inside Max's head.
Something's happening, oh my goodness, agony is grabbing me, my pulse is racing, this is paranoia. Spider.
One of my favorite soundtracks of all time is Suspiria. And I had given this to Hans as something to sort of mess around with for another character. But he brought in this Suspiria thing and he played it to Johnny. There's a kind of a mandolin floating, this sort of ostinato, a repetitive pattern that Johnny picked up on. It needed a kind of this creepy, sinister quality. And Johnny developed an idea that was kind of based on that. And there was something very visual about it. Again, that's what Hans sort of brought to the table in that regard. And then you incorporate all those things and you get this. We still needed a little more force because Electra is becoming a little bit dangerous, and you want that power, that gristle, to move forward. And then Mike Einzinger came in, took all the strings off his guitar, strung them entirely with E strings and started jamming and wailing on it. And basically what Mike was doing was playing the first few notes of Itsy Bitsy Spider, but he was playing it in a minor key. So that sweet little nursery rhyme, if you drop the third, it comes into this more sinister, evil version of it. Then we sort of mix that layer into it. It's a moment of birth. He's slightly unconscious before, and then he comes out of the Jumbotron where he's been slammed into by Spider-Man, and he starts to float, which you've never seen him float before, and the bolts of electricity are growing inside of his hands. And he becomes the villain in a way that he was always meant to be. So much of the power you feel in the cinema comes from music and comes from sound, and I am fascinated by the intersection between sound effects and score. And when those things combine and when you are immersed in that world, there's something transformative, and it transports you into some different kind of universe, and that was the intention all along.
Because usually when I go to the museum, like I've done it before, but it's like, you know, I kind of become an exhibit.
Oh, they're so amazing.
Fashion, Topshop, parents' house. Favorite thing I've done. A daily occurrence for me, by the dozens. 4th of July. I'll be 30. Short, manageable. Terror. I'm obsessed with like being in the same place as my friends, and when we all get together, and it happens more than you'd think. Like we're always traveling, we're always in different places, but it's so weird how often we're in the same place at the same time. It's like meant to be. It's like fated that we hang out all the time. Stuff that's always in my purse. I have a lot of birthday cards because you never know when you're going to run into somebody and it's their birthday, and then you can just like, oh wow, you gave them a birthday card 5 minutes later.
정신없이 가는 곳, 정처없이 가는 곳, 정해지지 않은 곳, 거기서 우리 서로를 재워주고 서로를 깨워주고 서로를 채워주고. 잠시만, 아직까진 우린 남하지만 지금 이 느낌적인 느낌, 이 통하는 느낌, 녹아버린 아이스